Hello and welcome to the first in-engine tour of the Constellation Phoenix. I'm Law of the West and I'll be your tour guide for today. We're going to be starting out the tour in the area just beyond the cockpit and the crew area located behind it facing towards the stern of the ship. The first thing you'll notice is this swanky Phoenix symbol located on the wall ahead of you, and doorways on your left and right which both lead to guest bedrooms. If you keep heading forward and round the corner, you'll end up in the main body of the ship, where a majority of its recreational functions can be found. Let's begin by turning right and taking a look at the first guest bedroom. It has its own cubbyhole complete with sleeping options, television, and its own fish tank. Other than that, it can seem a bit Spartan at the moment since none of the furniture or other item containers have been added in. The other room is very similar in appearance, but we'll take a look at it anyway just for curiosity's sake before moving on to the main body of the ship. This is the lounge area, which takes up a bulk of the ship's interior space. Over to the left you have the first set of lounge seats that are designed in a side split fashion, like you'd find in a luxury or European style train. Some additional references that were used to create this area includes Air Force One, luxury airliners, and various yacht designs. And how could you have a luxury flying swank machine without a fully loaded bar that comes stocked with every kind of alcohol known to the Empire? RSI really isn't famous for its luxury style, so a lot of liberties had to be taken with this portion of the Phoenix's interior space. This area over here by default houses a conference table, but if you're one of the people who purchased the Phoenix during the original concept sale, which came with the piano, or bought the piano as an aftermarket item, you'll be able to bring up your mobi-glass and swap out the table for it just like you would any other component. For the people who bought the Hartwell Music Sentinel 88G piano separately and don't currently own a Phoenix, the plan is to allow them to be able to display it in their hangar just like you would any other hangar flare item. I'll be looking at the piano in more detail at the end of this tour, but for now, let's get moving along. And over here we have one of the best looking two-sided fish tanks in the game. It comes with its own Mark I Constellation Phoenix wreck in it that was taken directly from the Geo from the old LOD of the Phoenix. The hot tub is currently being finished up and integrated into the rest of the ship, so the animations of the cover splitting and the tub rising up wasn't really available to show at this time, although a lot of discussions came up about trapping people in there, from guests to prisoners, and either drowning them or wrinkling them beyond all recognition. I guess we'll just have to wait and see how it turns out. Also, water physics are currently being worked on as part of the Hurston update, but I wouldn't expect to see any real-time physics in the hot tub or zero-gravity water anytime soon. This is the master bedroom with its limo-tinted windows overseeing the exterior of the ship and a grand view of the exterior. Once again, it can look a bit Spartan in its furnishings since those items haven't been placed into the ship yet. Component storage space is located in these cabinets found in these 4 spots located in the back of the ship. This door back here leads towards the tail of the ship where the Archimedes is located. The cargo bay can be directly accessed through the main body of the ship through this hatch in the floor that leads to a drop elevator that descends directly into it. The cargo area has been given about 10 to 15% more space so you can fully walk around a rover that's been stored in here. It may have less cargo space than the other Connies, but it's redesigned to have more width to it than the other models have. It just has less height to it. So in the end, it's longer and wider, but shorter than the cargo hold of something like the Andromeda. The look down here is a lot more typical of RSI style. The new cargo capacity count was reported to be 80 SCU, but it could change, as everything is always subject to. It will fit the Lynx rover that it will eventually come with, or an Ursa rover since the metrics for the two are almost identical. And speaking of metrics, the Ursa has a height of 3.5 and the tallest Cyclone has a height of 3, so it should also be able to carry all 5 of its variants as well. Just maybe not at the same time, but I'm sure somebody's going to try and will most likely succeed at it in a very entertaining way. The Phoenix hasn't gotten that much bigger with the redesign. They weren't very forthcoming with the exact measurements, but they did state that it had a 14% increase to the overall width, and the length had a 10% increase to the main body of the ship. Previously, the Phoenix had a power plant that was one size larger than the other Connies could equip, but the power system has been completely revamped since then, and now instead of having a bigger power plant, it'll come with one that has a higher performance rate. Ideally, the CIG rep stated that it would most likely be an upgraded competition class power plant, that although will perform at a much higher rate, is also going to wear out a lot quicker. The Phoenix's point defense system is now being referred to as a remote turret, and isn't going to be available when the ship is released in-game. But they are planning on going back and installing it after that remote turret system comes online. So no worries, it may not be there right now, but it's still coming. For those who don't know, by definition, a point defense turret is an AI-controlled turret that has the necessary computer blades already installed in it, and the specific weapons loadouts needed to make them effective at neutralizing targets like missiles and torpedoes. Any turret can be equipped with these particular weapons and computer blades. PTDs just come with everything already installed that they need to function in this manner. There's also a misnomer about the Phoenix having a shielded cargo hold for smuggling that needs to be cleared up. The Taurus is the ship that has the smuggler's cargo hold in it. The Taurus is missing its bottom turret, and that area is replaced with a space that's set aside for hauling small amounts of cargo that's shielded from scanners. The Phoenix, however, has both turrets and no extra room for such an option. This misunderstanding is stemmed from an old episode of ATV where Ben Lesnick reported that the Phoenix had this option, and then reinforced this notion through a follow-up post. That information was incorrect. The Phoenix does not have a special shielded cargo hold in it, and this has been a common misconception over the last couple of years, but they're slowly clearing it up for people, and have apologized for any confusion this may have caused. The neck area and bridge look very familiar to the design of the other constellations, being very functional over form, and still has the same basic overall geometry that they do. But there are some differences in the texture maps that are displayed on the walls and on the seats, which have more of a plush leather look to them. The Phoenix still has the heaviest armor amongst the constellation variants, which is slightly better than the Andromeda, but keep in mind that the armor system is going to be completely revamped in the future. Lastly, let's take a look at the piano. Some of its unique features includes having sheet music that scrolls by as a song plays, along with having the corresponding keys light up as they're being used. The extra effort that was put into this really sets it apart from simply being a prop to being something that was actually worth pledging for, or even keeping as part of your existing hangar flare. As for the Emerald Edition of the Phoenix, in addition to the external color changes that will be done to the ship, there'll also be some additional changes done to the interior trim, where the accent material will match the green of the outer hull of the ship. Sorry though, there will be no shamrocks. That's going to be it for this tour of the RSI Constellation Phoenix. My next look at it should be from the deck of the ship as I'm flying it in-game. Hopefully with all these finishing touches that we talked about already added in and fully functioning. So I hope you'll join me for that. Thanks for dropping by. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and take care.